shortly as Kaiser Forson gets appointed. Also, the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, has agreed to postpone its planned pipeline maintenance by 2 weeks, averting an imminent power crisis in Ghana. Also in the bulletin, Ghana ranked as the second most indebted country to the International Monetary Fund in Africa. Later in business, Ghana has called for a review and restructuring of the country's investment law. We will hear from the members shortly on this. And later on the international front, over 100,000 evacuated as flames ravage thousands of acres of stretched firefighters to their limit in Los Angeles. Let's settle for the details of these and more shortly. Do stay. Remember that the news is streaming live on our YouTube platform, ABC News Ghana. Do you want to follow us, connect, let us know what you think about the various stories we will be bringing to you this afternoon. Once again, I am Eric Melo. Let's begin with the first story. President John Dramani Mahama has announced his first set of ministerial appointment with Dr. Kaiser Forson and John Dinapo and Dominic Ayine grabbing key positions. A statement issued by the presidency on January 9 said President Mahama has submitted the ministerial nomination to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Kingsford Bagbin, in accordance with Article 78 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. On it, Honorable Dr. Kaiser Forson is the Minister for Finance designate. Again, Honorable John Abdullah Jinapor will be, is on for Minister for Energy designate. Honorable Dominic Ayine, Attorney General and Minister for Justice designate. We will bring you more on this development story, and we will be looking at what exactly this is going to we shall bring you more on that, but again, we do know that as it stands now, all these members will be going through vetting, but their profiles are there. So according to the statement, President John Dramani Mahama has submitted the following ministerial appointments. And just as I said, Dr. Kaiser Forson, just a background of who he is an economist, a chartered accountant, and a tax practitioner with extensive experience in public finance and microeconomics, fiscal policy, tax policy, and business management. Again, a 5-term lawmaker, Dr. Forson holds a PhD in finance from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and Masters of Science degree in taxation and economics for the University of Oxford and Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, respectively. He also holds a Bachelor of Science in Accounting for London South Bank University. Honorable John Abdullah Jinapor brings a wealth of hands-on experience, competence, and know-how to energy portfolio. With his extensive qualification, particularly in energy and economics and finance, he is expected to bring much-needed dynamism and capabilities to transform the energy sector. Whereas we do know that Honorable John Jinapor holds a Master of Arts degree in economics, policy management, and an MBA in marketing and a Master of Science in Development Finance from the University of Ghana. He also holds a Master of Science degree in Energy Economics from GIMPA and a postgraduate diploma in Finance and Financial Law from the University of London. See the letter dated today. It says that Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayine is a senior lawyer with 3 decades of experience in practice. He previously also served as Deputy Attorney General and Minister for Justice and is the founding partner of the Ayine Partnership Law Office. He also holds a PhD in law from Stanford University, a Master of Law from the University of Michigan Law School, and a Bachelor of Law degree from the University of Ghana. He also is a lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School of Law, I beg your pardon, Ghana School of Law, in many years. We'll bring you more details on this particular subject as and when we do know anything about it. But aside from that, let's do some energy-related issue. The West African gas pipeline company, WAPCO, has agreed to postpone its planned pipeline maintenance by 2 weeks, averting an imminent power crisis in Ghana. This decision comes after intense negotiations led by a technical committee established by Chief of Staff Julius Deborah to tackle the looming energy challenge. The maintenance, initially scheduled to commence this week, was flagged by the Ghana Grid Company, GridCo, as a significant threat to the country's electricity supply. And GridCo warns that ongoing fuel shortage for thermal plant combined with the disruption in gas supply for pipeline would severely cripple Ghana's power generation capacity. At a high-level meeting involving WAPCO's representatives, GridCo officials and the technical committee, the stakeholders deliberated on the potential impact of the maintenance on the national grid. Concerns were raised about the possible reintroduction of power outage, which could disrupt businesses and households across the country. Following the discussion, WAPCO agreed to delay a maintenance to allow authorities more time to secure alternative fuel supplies and to stabilize electricity and generation. As we do know, Ghana is facing a looming crisis, and yesterday a crunch meeting was held, which we do know, led by the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah. It says that the government is working assiduously to tackle the issue. But let's take a listen at that, what transpired over that. I think we'll bring you that shortly. But the director of WAPCO also has this to say on the development.
Still working to get commitment, but there is a possibility of a slight deferral. It won't be the full month, but we're looking at up to potentially 2 weeks deferral in the start of the operation.
So are you trying to say that we can defer it from January 20th to say February?
I believe it would be 3rd February.
3rd February.
We need a firm.
It's okay.
We're continuing to work with our vendors today to see if we can make those commitments firm. But that is our target right now, is to look for as much possible deferral.
President John Dramani Mahama has indicated the possibility of privatizing the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, as part of effort to address inefficiencies in the country's power distribution system. The president believes that involving the private sector in managing ECG could help resolve long-standing challenges, including operational inefficiencies, financial mismanagement, and inadequate service delivery. Speaking during a meeting with the delegation from the World Bank on Wednesday, January 8, 2025, at his private office in Accra, Mr. Mahama noted that privatization may form part of a broader strategy to modernize and enhance the performance of the energy sector.
Of Ghana's financial and economic stability is there, and blow apart everything that we have achieved, in the last few years. And so how we how we change the systems in the energy sector to make sure that we pay down the debt and make it more efficient than it is currently. Unfortunately, democracy has its dividends, but it also sometimes can be a curse. We left government and a new government took over and took over the Millennium Challenge Compact, mixed up the last segment of it, which was providing efficiency in distribution, billing, metering, and all that. And of course, PDS is history now. But we want to take a look at that again, because if we don't fix the Electricity Company of Ghana, we will continue to have a major problem with our whole power value chain. And so going ahead with privatizing the last point of distribution of electricity to bring in private sector efficiency is something that we want to take up again. We would like to speak with the World Bank to get the expertise to be able to do that. Okay. I spoke to the Americans during my last visit to the U.S. We met the Millennium Challenge Corporation, and we asked if it was possible for them to reinstate the $190 million that they had devoted to that aspect of it. And they said the door is not possible for them to reinstate the $190 million that they had devoted to that aspect of it. And they said the door is not closed. And so we to get the expertise to be able to do that. I spoke to the Americans during my last visit to the US. We met the Millennium Challenge.
Still on some energy matters, Mr. Joe Jackson has expressed his support for the privatization of the energy sector. He says it would be a right decision for the government to consider privatizing the energy sector so that the funds lost to private investors would be made available to address the rising issues in the sector. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Mr. Jackson urged the government to find better alternative in implementing policies relating to energy sector.
May be reopened and those funds from the US that we lost may be available again to help fix our energy sector, to help restore efficiency to our energy sector. I think it's a good thing to look at. What we should seek to do is to implement it much better than the implementation process that went on some years ago. Whole issue may be reopened and those funds.
Meanwhile, Joe Jackson, who is the CEO of Delex Finance, has said that the looming power crisis is not a problem of the NDC government. According to him, it is inherited from the NPP, and he adds that the power crisis would be as a result of the government's debt and failure to tackle issues in the energy sector. His comment follows Gridco's report that at least $90 million is needed to avert the looming power crisis. He spoke earlier on ABC in the morning.
2 days after a new government has taken place, then obviously the problem cannot be with this government. It cannot be this government that is trying to sabotage its 24-hour economy. It has to be a problem that has been carried over, that has a potential of sabotaging the boost to the economy that the 24-hour economy promises to provide. I believe that it's unfortunate, but all of us Ghanaians are very intelligent, very knowledgeable, and we can see clearly that this cannot be a problem of a government that was inaugurated on Tuesday. So I'm hopeful that it will be solved soon, and that we'll be able to take off into a new regime that will provide more jobs, a new regime that will boost the economy, a new regime that will reset. Hopeful that it will be solved soon, and that we'll be able to take off into a new regime that will provide more jobs, a new regime that will boost the economy, a new regime that will reset as the 2 days after a new government has taken place. Then obviously the problem cannot be with this government. It cannot be this government that is trying to sabotage.
Away from the energy sector, let's move straight to Parliament. And Parliament has officially approved the composition of its appointment committee, a crucial body tasked with vetting and recommending nominees for ministerial and other top government positions. The committee will be chaired by the First Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo, with Emmanuel Amakofibwa serving as vice chairmanship. Notable appointments include Alexander Ofenyo-Markin, the minority leader, as the ranking member, and Patricia P.J. as the deputy ranking manager member. This powerful committee plays a pivotal role in ensuring that nominees put forward by the president for key positions such as ministers of state and their deputies are thoroughly scrutinized before receiving parliamentary approval. The work is guided by provisions in the Constitution and other relevant legislation. Now, speaking in Parliament on Wednesday, January 8, 2025, Majority Leader Dr. Kaiser Waterforson highlighted the significance of the committee's composition.
Commends to the House to adopt this report and approve the membership of Appointment and Business Committee as composed and recomposition of the committees of selection based on the ratio of 183 to 88. The Speaker, I so submit.
Honourable members will proceed, and I put the question. Those in favour of motion number 10 on the order paper, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted.
Commends to the House to adopt this report and approve the membership of Appointment and Business Committee.
So now let's take a full glance at the members of the Appointment Committee and Business Committee as approved by Parliament, and we will put that shortly on your screens. But as we do know, the committee has come up with some names, and we will also know that some of the members on the board include notable amongst them is Emmanuel Amakofibwan, serving as the Bernard Ahiafo, I beg your pardon, who is the Deputy Speaker over there, with Emmanuel Amakofibwa serving as Vice Chairman or Chairperson. Notable again amongst them include Alexander Fenyomarkin, the Minority Leader, as the Ranking Member, and Patricia PJ as the Deputy Ranking Member. The committee also plays, as I said earlier, a pivotal role in ensuring that these nominees put forward what the president and its positions, such as the ministers and state and their deputies, to be scrutinized before receiving any parliamentary approval. Well, still in Parliament, Deputy General Secretary of the National, away from Parliament, I beg your pardon, Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Mustafa Gbande, has defended the actions of alleged party supporters accused of vandalizing state properties and attacking state institutions. Gbande argued that these individuals were protecting state property rather than engaging in acts of violence. Speaking to the media on Wednesday, January 8th, the NDC's Deputy General Secretary added that the party, in collaboration with the police, to restore law and order and address the situation amicably. Meanwhile, organized labor has condemned the locking up of officers and ejection of public officers. Executive Secretary of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of CLOSAC, Dr. Isaac Bampo Ado, had this to say.
Because I cannot go to work when my properties have been thrown out and I don't know where I'm going to lay my head. Don't expect me to work. So we are appealing to the IG and the security agencies. Please call them to order. There's law and order in this country. You cannot just do this. This is the first time some of us are experiencing something like this. It's never been like this. They are thugs. They are thieves. And they must be brought to book. And it's the responsibility of the police to protect them. Right. That's the thing. That's their responsibility. But there's something wrong. But this thing has been going on since Friday night. By this time, they should have cordoned off these areas, giving them police protection. But so far, nothing has been done. Closer, we were left with no other option than to advise ourselves accordingly if the matter is not addressed decisively. Moreover, we are hereby calling on the responsible authorities to conduct a thorough investigation into the state of all government properties and stand the tide. We wish to inform all affected civil servants to remain resolute while CLOSAC collaborates with the appropriate authorities to resolve.
You're still watching ABC Midday here on ABC News Ghana. Do well to leave your thought and comment inside the comment section. Just in case you're streaming live, you have to go straight onto our YouTube platform. But away from some labor issues, the president of the Chamber of Local Governance, Dr. Richard Fiadomo, has raised concerns over President John Dramani Mahama's directives for coordinating directors to assume acting roles as chief executive of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies. This comes after President Mahama revoked the appointment of all MMDCEs shortly after being sworn in. In a statement undersigned by Secretary to the President, Callistus Mahama, is explained that the move was part of the effort to reorganize local government for greater accountability and efficiency. However, in an interview with ABC News GH, Dr. Fiadomo described the move as unconstitutional, citing a prior Supreme Court ruling, and he further explained that beyond the Supreme Court's ruling allowing coordinating directors to act as MMDCEs disrupt the separation of powers meant to ensure accountability in the local governments.
He revoked the appointment of his own MMDCs he appointed and also asked them to now be in acting capacity. The Supreme Court said, no, that is an illegality. So you cannot have acting capacity for MMDCs. So it is strange. I want to believe it's an oversight for the president to even ask the MMDCs to act. The reason why they cannot even act apart from the Supreme Court ruling is also the fact that the chief executives are the approving authority, and then the coordinating directors are the spending authority. It is for the sake of checks and balances. That is why the one approving is not the one spending, and the one spending is not the one approving. So if now the president asks the one spending to be the same person approving, then the president invariably or inadvertently is trying to promote corruption at the local level. And that one, we are looking forward that in the coming days, they will come and amend that particular portion and just get the chief executive to hand over to the...
Well, we will go back to our earlier story just to have a conversation about the release of some ministerial appointments. We just want to have some better engagement on that particular subject, but we'll bring you details of that as and when we do have our resource person back on the line. But away from that, political sciences at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Muhammad Abbas, has stated that local governance will not thrive if there's no reform. His comments come in the wake of President John Dramani Mahama's recent decision to revoke the appointment of all metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives. In an interview with ABC News GH earlier today, Dr. Abbas elaborated the leveraging that leaving the MMDCEs unchanged would prevent decentralization from functioning effectively in the country.
I should say, in our country, we have seen that the central government is always centralizing everything and not allowing the local government concept to work as it's supposed to be. So the problem is we have decentralized, but yet operationally or on the ground, we don't allow the decentralization to work. So that, for example, when these officers are appointed, they lack real powers, as we have seen, in terms of working with the local people, identifying their own problem, coming out with their own solutions, and they always have to look up to the central government for advice and what next to be done. So definitely going along this way is not going to help us, and that is why all these reforms that have been mentioned, and then part of the discussions that we have, some of the things that we have said, which they know, and some of the things that they also know will help, must be implemented, because at the end of the day, it's the implementation that is going to help us. And implementation here means that doing things differently from the way we have done it in the past. Other than that, there's no way the local government can ever be that efficient and effective as it's supposed to. That in our part of, I should say, in our country, we have...
Let's now shift our focus to some security matters, and security consultant Richard Kumadom has expressed his concerns about this growing number of politically motivated violence in the country, charging the country's agencies to act with immediate effect. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Mr. Kumadom called on the government to arrest and prosecute offenders. His statement comes after some unknown men vandalized a plaque at the Asumdre Park, damaged Iyoko's boss Ado Tiwa's bust, and locked up some government officers and besieged the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority in Itema.
About political reprisal attack in this country for so long, nobody is doing anything. It is back to the same point. Your security agencies must get up to act. And why would they act? Get the people arrested and prosecute them. Until we are able to do that, this cycle of reprisal attacks and violence is going to continue. Today, We are talking about plaques and statues being cut down, hand down, or whatever. Tomorrow is going to be physicality, where we start killing ourselves, we start fighting ourselves as Ghanaians in the name of political violence, which is so common in this country. And you walk in Makola and you say you are Jesus Christ in Makola, so somebody touch you. We live in a society where somebody can shout, hold you low, a thief. Nobody will find out whether are you really a thief or not, because somebody shouted, you are being beaten up and you mob attack and you are being killed. This is our history. And we should not add political violence and political reprisal attacks and taking over state assets or state properties to be part of it. We should condemn it, and the police must act and act precisely.
Meanwhile, Mr. Commodore has indicated that the country faces a lot of threat if these recurrent acts of violence and forceful takeovers after elections are not curtailed, stressing that rule of law must work in the country.
Striker is not right. No, some of the things we are doing are not right. On both sides, they are not right. On both sides, they are not right. Who even said there's a statue there? This is the first time I'm hearing for the first time that Tiwa has a statue at Yoko. What work has she done in Yoko that she has a statue? Jesus Christ. What about those who established the Yoko? Does she know how Yoko was established? Well, it was SFO, and some people established it to be Yoko. And you are just sent there and you have a statue there.
Well,
when the statue was made, was she aware of the statue?
Richard,
and she supervised it? She's as guilty as those who went in there to destroy the statue. And I think for me, it has always been simple for me. I don't know who is NDC, I don't know who is MPP, who is engaging in crime. But crime is a crime. So once you engage in crime, let the police arrest you and prosecute you. I think our governance structure is not right. No,
let's do some more stories. And Ghana is the second most indebted country to the International Monetary Fund in Africa in terms of concessional lending and debt relief trust. The country's exposure to the fund stood at 2.242 billion, special drawing right, an equivalent of 2.914 billion US dollars as of October 31, 2024. The West African nation until recently was the most indebted country at the IMF. The country's exposure represented 17% of the total Africa borrowings from the IMF. Democratic Republic of Congo came first with an indebtedness of 2.256 billion US dollars, and the IMF. Now Zambia placed third with an SDR of 1.272 billion indebtedness to the IMF, and Ghana and Zambia have defaulted on their loans, leading to seeking assistance from the IMF. According to the fund's quarterly finances, the country's outstanding concessional loans to the Bretton Woods institutions were higher than what was recorded in July 2024. And Ghana went to the IMF in January 2023 to seek economic assistance after its economy went through severe challenges. The IMF in May 2023 approved a $3 billion bailout package to revive and Ghanaian economy. So far, the nation has received 1.92 billion from the Bretton Woods institution under the Economic Credit Facility. And we want to have an understanding of what this means to Ghana's economy, looking at the energy crisis we face already, and also now Ghana being ranked as the second most indebted country to the International Monetary Fund. What does this mean in terms of our economic policies and also to the next Mahama administration, who is currently in charge of the country? Perhaps when we do get a resource person, we will better do understand. As it stands now, Ghana, yes, the report has been confirmed by the International Monetary Fund that Ghana has been ranked second most indebted country in terms of the International Monetary Fund here in West Africa. We will also be touching on some of the ministerial appointments that has come up. Just as I mentioned, some of the names that have popped up is raising a lot of questions, and some people are even saying that looking at the list that popped up, Honorable Kezlo Tuforsen, just as I read his bio, his qualifications in the finance sector, Honorable Ginapo, also Minister for Energy designate, Honorable Dominic Ayine, Attorney General and Minister for Justice designate, and some of the list. Now, as we do know, President John Mahama has announced his first set of ministerial appointments, and a statement issued by the presidency on the 9th said that this is just to be submitted for the ministerial nominations to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, in accordance with Article 78 of the 1992 Constitution. These key solid names that have popped up, who is fit? Perhaps that's the question we should be asking. And can they do the job? But we will be back with that conversation shortly. Let's bring you some business news after this. Do stay. In business, Clement Boateng, Vice President of the Ghana Union Traders Association, has called for a review and restructuring of the country's investment law, cutting the persistent influx of foreign product into local markets. He argued that the current investment law has turned Ghana into a dumping ground for foreign goods.
Been calling for the investment laws, to be restructured. You see, we have a situation where in the previous investment law, or I would say in the current investment law, an investor just needs to, deposit $1 million either by way of goods or by way of cash, at the Bank of Ghana, and then you can enter into business.
Let's go back to our earlier story, where Ghana has been ranked the second most indebted country in West Africa. And joining us on this discussion is Professor Lord Mensah with the University of Ghana Business School. Prof, we're grateful that you can join us with the discussion this afternoon.
You're welcome, and greetings to everyone.
Doc, before we go straight into the IMF conversation, let me just pick your initial thought on the latest list that has dropped in terms of some ministerial appointment the presidency has released earlier. It says that, just by way of letting you at least brush through some of the names, Dr. Kezlo Tuforsen is tipped to be for Minister for Finance, designate for now, Honorable John Ginapo, Minister for Energy, again, Honorable Dominic Ayine, Attorney General and Minister for Justice. Your initial take on that first.
I think these are names that, for me, I was expecting. I think the president has hit it right on the head of the nail. And from where I sit, looking at their experience, looking at their education background, looking at the connection between them as we speak now, and then the party is very, very important. And then their personality as well. I'll take, Dr. Kezlo Tuforsen's one first. He's someone who is more conservative. He knows how to manage his lifestyle in the public space. He's not, sophisticated when it comes to, should I say, usage of resources. And these are people we need in managing, collective, resources like, the finance ministry, stands for. And then also, if you look at his education background, someone who has what we call PhD in finance from KMUST, and then looking at his master's being, tax and then economics, which are the two key areas for public financial management. I can say that, yes, he's the right person for the position. And he's gathered a lot of experience. If you look at being a deputy finance minister and the way and manner he came out, when this economy was going into ditch, I think he was the first person to hold up a forum, and we were all there. And he indicated, the direction the economy was going wasn't good. And lo and behold, we came to see all the numbers reflecting what he projected. So, I mean, I think it comes with a lot of experience, and the president has picked the right person for the position.
Prof, just as you say that the president has, picked up the right person for this position, then again, I would want to take your thought on some conversations that has recently popped up. In fact, the recent situation we do have in our hands is the fact that Ghana is currently the second most indebted country to the IMF, and this is actually quite staggering. But are you surprised about this latest report?
No, I'm not surprised, because if you look at the Fourth Republic, how many times have we visited the IMF? Within 2 consecutive administrations, we've gone to IMF for help. And you see, anytime, we go for IMF, we don't go for IMF for projects. We go for IMF for debt support. And I can tell you that, no country will be doing what we did for the past 8 years, that we've gone back and forth to IMF. So from where I sit, it has to do with, discipline. And if you look at, you sequence all our economic numbers, right? Inflation, exchange rates and all those. These numbers seem to be tamed anytime we find with ourselves with IMF. So it's like we've been having economic managers who comes and they know that IMF is providing, more or less an insurance. And they will run the economy into ditch, destroy the economic car, and then, later on go for IMF, who is an insurer, for a rescue. That is what has been happening over the years. And I think, yes, I'm not surprised to see that we are the second most, debt-holding country as far as, the IMF is concerned.
What do you think has really contributed to this, if I should ask?
It has to do with accountability and inefficient, allocations of resources. I mean, this is a country where we've not done much in terms of our own production, and we still have a taste for dollar. And until you produce and saturate your economy and start exporting, you will not get dollars into your buffers. So alternatives that we're using to get dollar into our buffers was to go to the IMF and get dollars, go to the Eurobond to get dollars, and then even the little that was giving us dollars as a result of our export, we tend to destroy it, which has to do with cocoa sector. And so from where I sit, it's purely, financial mismanagement. Public sector financial mismanagement.
Prof, we know that this is not the first time Ghana perhaps is going to the IMF, but looking at some of the challenges that we've gone through and the exposure we do have in the IMF and its current economic state or situation, do you believe that the country's debt is sustainable, and perhaps the measures that could also be taken to ensure that it remains quite manageable?
Yeah, the country's debt is, I can say it's highly sustainable. The only difference is that we need to get commitment from government upon government. If we should give ourselves the next 5 to 7 years, we should be able to bring our debt to a sustainable level. It all depends on how we account for our expenditure lines, and then how we allocate, how we are able to mobilize revenue, and then be able to, produce, reorient the economy. I mean, from the government concentrated economic, situation to the private-led, economy. And I think this will go a long way to help us solve our debt problems.
We quite recall that the IMF some time ago did approve some 3 billion bailout package in May 2023 to also assist Ghana's economic recovery. But in your opinion, how effective has this package been so far, looking at the fact that now Ghana is being ranked as the second most indebted country?
Yeah, so those, funds are not, monies that can take us from our economic difficulty. They are just to sustain us. And what we're supposed to do, and taking advantage of that sustainability period to reorient the economy. That is what we're supposed to do. Being under the IMF program called for a debt restructuring. And the debt restructuring means that at the point in time, we're not servicing our debt. Even if we're going to start servicing it, we're going to commit less of our resources to it, because after the debt restructuring, debt payment frequency and at the same time levels of payment goes down. And so it will help you to more or less, save indirectly. And with these savings you are doing, where are you going to direct the monies? Are you going to direct them into areas that will help you produce and create jobs so that government, pay or income tax revenue can go up? We need to see that happening. And for me, that is not what we are seeing. We seem to be boasting of making savings from the IMF program and the debt restructuring. But you see, these are expected savings. And the fact that they are expected means that it may not even be realized, depending on how we allocate, our expenditure lines. There is a change of government, which has given the signal of, being conserved by reduction in, ministerial appointment, and then also being efficient in resource, allocations. Let's see what happens going forward. And I think if we maintain that we get a realization of that signal that has been given, that conserved nature, we can move the economy, to a level where our debt levels can be sustainable within the next 5 years.
I mean, we talked earlier about some of the ministerial appointment. I mean, we have touched on a bit of that, but again, we want to shift our focus again back to that, because you touched on just as we
I need to rush on doing something. So if you can be a bit snappy.
Beautiful. I mean, I'll be very snappy, but just so you could answer this question. We do know that Kezilo Tiforsin was the deputy finance minister. Now he's the substantive minister. Looking at the crisis that Ghana faces, in terms of our economy, how difficult a task is this role for him, and what is expected of him?
Yeah, it is a Herculean one, I can say. It's a huge, tax burden as far as the economy is concerned. And I think, with Atuforsin's posture and then his behavior, look, when this government, the previous administration was running into debt difficulty, he was the one to see it first. And I think with that experience, he should be able to manage the situation. He also believes in, the fiscal side of the economy running in tandem with the monetary side. Because if Bank of Ghana's monetary committee meets and they are chasing inflation and government is spending recklessly, I think that, mandate by the monetary committee will go down. And if you look at the finance ministry, they play the fiscal aspect of, the economic management. So I believe that Atuforsin has what it takes. It's a big task though, but already we are under the IMF program, and the economy has set itself into a certain trajectory by the IMF conditionalities. And I believe with his posture, he's going to maintain that. He should be able.
You have just 1 minute.
Well, we have been speaking with Professor Lord Mensah. He is a financial economist and also with the University of Ghana Business School. Doc, we do appreciate that you could speak with us, but we'll do engage him again on some interesting related matters in terms of some of the appointment earlier. You heard him say that he has been caught up with some emergency. We do apologize for not having an extensive conversation. We'll bring you that shortly in our subsequent bulletin. You're still watching ABC Midday. I am Eric Chinibo-Melo. We're streaming live on our YouTube. You can do well to visit. Leave your thought and comment, would appreciate. But still on some more stories. Alhaji Ayana Yakubu, the 65-year-old man who walked from Kumasi to Accra to honor President John Dramani Mahama's inauguration on January 7th, has been gifted a brand new Revolt car, an undisclosed sum of money and shopping vouchers worth 5,000. The gesture was made possible by the philanthropist who, by choosing to remain anonymous, reached out to ensure Alhaji Ayana's remarkable effort was recognized and rewarded. The presentation was made by Kofi Ochredakon, widely known as KOD, a renowned broadcaster and showbiz personality. Sharing the moment on his Instagram handle, KOD posted a video of the handover ceremony, and the footage shows Alhaji Ayana visibly moved, receiving the car keys before stepping inside the vehicle. Away from that, the king and overlord of the Gonja Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Yabongura Bli Jewu I, on January 8, 2025, led by Savannah Regional House of Chief to pay courtesy call on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on his first day in office as a true son of the Gonja Kingdom, assuming office for the third time as president under the Fourth Republic. The delegation, which came all through from the Dagomba and to witness the inaugural ceremony of the swearing-in, expressed their gratitude to Ghanaians for the honor bestowed on their sons, urging support for President Mahama to deliver. Part of the overlord's delegation is the Dagbonvura, Mamprugra, and sons and daughters of the Gonja land, where the president comes from.
Wala basaya ayatul kursi Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Fatiha. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin arrahmanir rahim maliki.
An kaba approve ka pare ale futitu atakia shi duma ban bekin kana fencin fa kabina so ani collaborer abor mamam na ba banye nta numuna safo amusuna ngogwa takia ay monsumi abachini ke kan fencin kabina so na BTP to waka ba shi ne shi ngbani mara kan fon pro ke bi pa amun fu dawla wa ke bi jiga bre fu dawla wa zina fi ke bi pa fi ke dunia ki ke pie amuso amambo na be jifu jimane enye shemu kati de sife ni shito abuna na ba chorofo antofo na bombo wu abina de kepe enye fi de sombe pe mba nta ma choromo futentamba.
As to this gesture, President John Dramani Mahama also had this to say. Do take a listen.
In leaving everything behind and coming to join me at the inauguration, he has come to sit and witness everything that happened, and I'm grateful to him for the honor. I should have gone this morning to go and greet him and make sure that he slept well and woke up well. But because of the love he has for me, he's put the tradition aside, and he himself has come to my office this afternoon to let me know that he's finished what he came to do and that he's returning home. So at the appropriate time, I will also come to home and pay my respects and my thanks to him, and then receive any advice that he has so that my tenure will be successful and it will bring peace and progress to all the people of Ghana. And so I want to thank my father once again for this visit and for coming to grace the occasion. It makes me proud that the whole of Ghana witnessed that, our overlord and king, came and sat in a very graceful manner and witnessed the whole ceremony. And so I want to thank him very much. Thank all the chiefs who came with him. Thank our imam and our Muslims, for continuing to support him in everything that he does, and so for continuing to pray for us for our success.
We're back with some sports news Tuesday. And in sport, West Ham United has officially announced Graham Potter as the club's new head coach on a 2.5-year contract. The 49-year-old is set to lead the Hammers for the first time in their FA Cup third-round clash against Aston Villa on Friday evening. Potter was selected unanimously by the board as the ideal candidate to align with the club's ambition. After departing Chelsea in April 2023, he also has been awaiting the right opportunity to return to Premier League management. Joining Potter's coaching team, Bruno is assistant coach, Billy Wraith is the first team coach, and Nasser Polanc is the first team coach, with Xavi Valero continuing as goalkeeper coach. Meanwhile, in his first interview as head coach, West Ham United, Graham Potter reflected on his decision to join the Hammers after a lengthy hiatus following the Chelsea tenure. He remarked that the minute he spoke to the club is just felt with the right hymn.
How excited are you to be back in football?
Very excited, very proud day to be head coach, manager of this amazing club. You know, it's a big tradition, big history. Big expectation, big challenge. So I'm really excited. It's almost a bit like Christmas for the adults, you know. Excited, not the best of sleeps last night, but just from excitement. And really looking forward to meeting the players today. Really looking forward to meeting our supporters, getting going. Just, yeah, brilliant.
It's nearly 2 years since you left Chelsea. How many other offers did you have, and how close were you to joining other clubs?
Yeah, it's been 20 months. I think 20 months of a good rest, of a good break. And you can imagine in that time you speak to lots of people, lots of conversations with different owners and different directors and different things. But it was important that I think I chose the right option for me at the right time. And as soon as I spoke to this club, it just felt right for me. Felt right, spoke with the board, spoke with everybody connected with the club.
We're back with International Update Tuesday. Wildfires surrounding Los Angeles have reached the Hollywood Hills, prompting over 100,000 evacuation as flames consume thousands of acres and stretch firefighting resources to their limit. The Sunset Fire, which ignited in the Hollywood Hills, scorched 50 acres and prompted evacuations around iconic locations like Hollywood, Beverly Boulevard, and the Dolby Theatre and the Walk of Fame. Firefighters reported progress in containing the blaze, but warned that winds could exacerbate their situation. Elsewhere, the Palisades fire devastated about 15,832 acres and destroyed hundreds of homes and reached the Pacific Ocean. On the eastern side, the eastern fire claimed 10,600 acres and killed at least 5 people. Water shortage in Pacific Pastlands forced hydrants to run dry, though authorities reported replenishing city reservoirs by Wednesday afternoon. Nearly 300,000 homes and businesses lost power, and schools remain closed across Los Angeles County. Private forecasters argue weather estimated demand exceeding about $50 billion, with firefighting reinforcements arriving from 6 other states. Evacuation centers sheltered residents and animals, while President Joe Biden declared the fires as a major disaster. Biden cancelled a planned trip to Italy to oversee federal support alongside California Governor Gavin Newsom. Authorities continue battling the fire, said is a red flag. Warning expected to persist through Friday, and residents remain on higher alert as the fires show no immediate sign of abating.
Hi. Just be okay. You're gonna be okay. Hi. You're gonna be okay. Oh shit. Yeah, don't worry about that, dude. Look at that.
Let's bring you some entertainment updates. In entertainment, Ghanaian dancehall icon Shatta Wale has returned home following his groundbreaking performance at the Freedom Street concert in Jamaica, where he shared the stage with legendary dancehall star Vybz Kartel. A video shared on January 8, 2025 captured the euphoric scene at Kotoko International Airport as fans warmly welcomed the artist. Shatta Wale dropped in traditional regalia, wore a striking white cloth adorned with colorful Adinkra symbol, including the revered Jinyame, symbolizing the supremacy of God. The arrival ceremony featured a unique traditional ritual performed by Ga traditional rulers. The Shatawale was assisted in changing from his all-black travel outfit into a ceremonial attire, and a royal Klalaheb placed around his neck as fans joyously hailed him with some titles like Ni Manche. Let's take a look at what transpired at Kotoka International Airport.
Say Shatawale no be stingy, but they do me make a do you know kicking that you wait. Tell them the man just come up. We dey use like this this time no fun. Before they do one now, tell them no be go come up.
The king of dancehall has returned, and we see how the conversations about whether or not he was there just to be a curtain raiser, the conversation I believe would begin or start from here. But that's all for the package this afternoon. I'm Eric Chinibuamelo. It has been a pleasure coming to serve you this afternoon. Do want to catch us again at 6 for another edition. Have a good afternoon.